I'd got very drunk because basically I spent that kind of day at work, not to bore you with it, but where you're spoken about in the third person while being there. So feeling quite alienated. I'd had to already take 2 buses on the way home. I wasn't sort of horrifically drunk. I was in control of myself, but very much like, ugh. Sort of state where I was playing with a plastic bottle on the floor and just pressing down on it and watching it pop back up, and that was fascinating. That was great. And spending the time sort of avoiding just putting my head against that kind of snowflake of grease from previous drunks who've fallen asleep. And just going, I'm not quite that bad. And had my music on, and I was very tired. I'd used my last bit of money on my Oyster card to go on the bus, and suddenly in the middle of nowhere on top of a hill, the bus stopped, and it stopped for a while. And it stopped for a bit longer, and everyone seemed to be getting off. I thought this very popular middle of nowhere. So I lowered my earphones, and I could hear 2 guys shouting, and the bus driver shouting in response, and went down. Everyone else had got off, and he was going, "Get off the bus!" Sort of screaming at them, and they were going, No, it's ridiculous, not going to do it. And I started to work it out, and basically they changed direction of the bus without telling anyone. And I wanted to get something called a continuation, which is where they print off something and you can continue on your journey on the next bus. And he said, no, you sit on the front of the bus, which wasn't true. But nonetheless, let's not get into semantics. The point was I decided to join the team of people being very angry with this bus driver. And at that moment, you know those wonderful moments in a weird way, you feel guilty afterwards, but all of your rage can actually be directed to a person. It's like, actually, I hate you. And so he's very much sort of looking at me and going like, no, it's ridiculous, and like that's getting really emotional. And the bus driver, no, get off this bus, you'll come with me. And he started driving the bus backwards and forwards, like shunting it backwards and forwards like this. We were sort of stumbling around. And one of the 2 guys went, oh, fuck this, I'm off. And he went. And myself and the other guy looked at each other, and there was this bonding moment of kind of like, never will we stop until we get this continuation. Continuation, I will take you with me forever. And like, oh, I know you won't, And of course he went. And he closed the doors and he drove off quite fast. And he kept going and spun around a corner. He's like, oh, he's actually taken us. Where are we going? And the other guy, I was sort of like, oh, a little bit pissed. And like, oh, it's a bit weird. It's definitely weird at the moment, not funny. But the other guy is enraged, absolutely enraged. And he came up with a brilliant sentence, which has always stuck in my head, which was, how dare you not let me get off when I want to get off? Where do you get off not letting me off? You Jobsworth Nazi fascist prick. Like very loudly, and the bus driver came back with a wonderfully cryptic, like, and if it was taken separately, sentence, which I've always loved, which was, you should think about getting off before you get on. And which I think is great, because it's also particularly, I mean, obviously, there's a destination, you do. Anyway, but so they're going nuts and they're spinning around. He's going, you'll come back to the depot with me. You'll come back to the depot with me. I'm never going to let you off. And we're sort of tearing along. And I'm like, I think, what, the depot? Like, where is that? Why? And just give us a continuation. And I'm still angry, but I'm beginning to find it funny because the other guy has lost it. And he's running up and down just in that kind of like, way. And just going, let me off. And he starts sort of punching at stuff and smacking the bus in general. And then he just turns around and the bus doors at the front, he just kicks them really hard. And the glass explodes. And there's this brief pause where it's very much like, this has gone too far. And so you're just sort of there going, oh, right, okay, he's crossed that line. And the driver goes, how dare you? You are both going to prison for this. And I really took umbrage at the word both. Because then I was like, both? No. And the other guy said, fuck it, and they just sort of screaming at each other. I'm like, it's not both. It isn't, because we're not a team. I didn't do that. I'm wearing flip-flops. And I was like, oh, I want to get off. But sort of funny, but a bit scary. And the wind is tearing through. We're going very fast. And he goes, yeah, you'll never get off. You'll go to prison for this. I'll call the police for you. And just sort of screaming, shouting. The other goes, you fucking prick. And we're tearing along. And he goes, yeah, you're never going to get off this bus. And I'm arguing with him. And the other guy goes to me like, come on, mate, and grabs on the doors. Goes, come on, we can get the doors open. And he sort of starts pulling open. Why? Like, we can get the doors open. Come on, mate. Like, we're not a team. I think you went too far. I wish you hadn't have kicked in the glass of that door. I'm not with you. And he looked at me and he balled up his fist and he looked enraged. And I'm going to smack him in the face. Because he didn't want to quite hit me in the face and we're sort of wobbling around. We're going like good sort of 30, 40 at this point. And then he just sort of pauses after a bit and leans forward and he grabs the hem of my trousers and just pulls on them really hard. and 2 buttons fall off and it tears a bit. And then he stands back like that. And it was just this weird moment. Like, I have no idea how to respond to this. Because I don't want to hit you, but you've slightly torn my trousers. What do I do with that? So we're still tearing along. But then we get towards Crystal Palace Parade, and it's a red light. And the guy's leaning down, he's pulling on the doors. He's like, you've got to stop now, haven't you, you fucking prick? And he goes like, no. And there's this pause, and the driver was slowing already for the red. And this last little insult just knocks him over the edge. And he floors it. And he got to about 50 and just spins through this red light. And it's it's a 90 degrees. So he spins. Like, this bus is tearing along. And we spin around. And the other guy looks like, I can't believe he didn't stop. That's ridiculous. I'm like, wow, we are really tearing through red lights in a bus down Crystal Palace Parade. Great. And the guy goes, he yanked the doors open. He's still there, obviously expecting he's going to nonchalantly step off. Go, yeah, you prick. And he goes, fuck it. And he jumps out of the bus. He just jumps and he lands. And there's this weird thing just turning around. But there's this brief second where you think, oh, wow, he's just standing up. And then he tumbled away. Just gone. We're still tearing along, and I'm obviously like, oh, no. And the driver, brilliant though, he just instantly, without a pause, just goes, he deserved it. He deserved it. You saw. I'm not sure he did. I think we should stop and see if he's okay. Because I think it's gone far. I think it's gone a bit far. And he carries on like shouting at me. And I'm like, I think you've really calmed down because you've got to stop. And he just pulls over in the middle of nowhere, absolutely nowhere. And he goes, get off the bus. And it's been a bit scary and terrifying, the rest of it. But I really have no money. Or anything, really. So there's a sort of pause. I think it over. I go, no. I need a continuation. And this guy, just like, he makes this animal noise. Like it's a kind of rage that you only sort of read about. It's kind of, rah, sort of thing. And he just, boom, and we're off, just sort of flying along. And he goes, do you want to fall out these doors? Do you want to fall out these broken doors? I go, what does that even mean? Like, he can't push me out. He's driving, but he's just going along. I go, are you threatening me? And he obviously realises how surreal the threat itself is. So his response is to narrow his eyes at me and go, are you threatening me? I was like, well, no, what? Just going along. And then he just spins around another corner and he stops again. And it's on now back on the 196 route going the other direction on the hill. And he just stops. He goes, get off the bus. I go, no, I need it. I haven't got any money. I need a continuation. We start really shouting at each other. I lift my arms up and I shout at him and he shouts at me and I begin to feel truly pathetic. And just when I'm almost going to give up, my trousers fall down. And I just feel smaller than anyone's ever felt in the world. And the driver, without even looking at me, just glances down, turns away, presses a button, and prints me off a continuation. And not being able to just walk away with any dignity, as I waddle off, clutching my crotch, I have to shout back, it's not that complicated, is it?